So we have 3 episodes left. Hey, it's Romania Black. We have 3 episodes left of Death Note. And I skipped Wine Chan last episode because I wasn't feeling it. I had a little bit of a headache, honestly, when I started the reaction. It was fine. But tonight I was like, 3 episodes left. I got a little bit of wine left. We need to do this. I just watched the English dub for that episode. And what a weird episode. I still maintain 34 is such a weird episode. It kind of feels like Matsuda, honestly. I'd say if I had a least favorite episode in Death Note, oh, that's interesting. I'd have to rank them. Matsuda is probably one of my least favorite episodes. Not a lot. It's a transition episode for sure. Episode 19. And there's maybe one with Higuchi that was probably my least favorite as well. But this one it's not my least favorite by any means, but I just feel like it sets up a bunch of things. And I'm like, but we don't see the payoff yet. So it's kind of like, well, what do we do with this? And so now we have 3 episodes to find out what the payoff is. And I don't honestly know what to think. I'm expecting the worst because I want Light to fail. I want Light to get caught. I want it to be proven that he's Kira, and I want him to stop being Kira. But at the same time, there's a part of me that is so traumatized from L's death that I'm like, no, Light's gonna find a way to win. So I don't know. The only thing that gets me is there's a part of me that thinks, one, theory-wise, Light is setting up for Nier to get cornered by Mikami with the fake notebook, and then Light's going to spring a trap on him from behind while he's distracted with the fake notebook. That's one of my theories. But then the other theory I was thinking about watching the dub is that Light is working with Takada to set up that she's going to help him catch Kira. And it's like, okay, well, what if that whole plan is to frame Mikami? Light was like, I need to use Mikami for the time being, but we're going to go ahead and use him. And now Nier is close to catching me, so I'm going to spring my trap. And Takada, we're going to frame Mikami. He's got the fake notebook on him. So, but the thing is, people are still dying. So is Mikami. The only thing would be if Mikami would talk. But would anybody believe him? He doesn't know who Kira is. All he knows is that Kiyomi knows who Kira is. So the only thing he could say is, I was set up by Kira, and Kiyomi knows who he is, right? And if Kiyomi denies it, then Mikami's screwed, right? Because Mikami doesn't know Light exists. So that's the one thing that's keeping Light safe, is that Mikami doesn't know who Light Yagami is. And it's like, okay. But my theory is at the moment that Light is setting up for Mikami to be framed as Kira, and he's going to make it to where, using the fake notebook, because the task force doesn't know that the notebook's fake. They think it's real. And so that's why Nier is testing it to see if in 24 days nothing happens. Okay, then he's going to confront Light. So my theory is that they're going to try to frame Mikami and then use the notebook and all the pictures and stuff that Nier's been having taken from it. Light could be like, well, see, there's your proof. It is Kira. It's not me. It's Mikami. And just set him up and frame him. And then him and Kiyomi move on. Because he can use Kiyomi. They can find another Mikami. He's just a religious zealot to Light that he's using that's like-minded to him. So that's my theory. But I'm like, it's either Light is planning a big trap to spring on Nier, or Nier has actually got some plan that he's going to narrow down and take down Kira. I don't know. At this point in the series, I'm so conditioned to like having things go his way, and we haven't seen Ryuk in so long that I'm like, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think with these last episodes, and it kind of freaks me out. And thankfully, everyone in the comment section's been pretty quiet. Patreon's like dead silence. They're like, we're saying nothing. We're saying nothing as you go through these last few episodes. I'm like, so, I did have a few comments, though, before we started that I wanted to touch base on. Burf the Pine Nut said that there's a movie called Villains that came out, I think it was 2019 is what they said, and it had a psychopath character in it. And in it, the psychopathic character said this line, "There's only us. Other people, they are just paper cutouts." And that kind of, we talked about Light being a psychopath, that kind of tracks because Light really just uses people. He doesn't view them on the same level as him, and he just uses them as things he can use. They're not as good as him, right? I think L was the closest he got to finding someone that could match him, but even then, Light was always like, well, I'm better. He always thought he was better than L, and when L got really close, he got pissed off, and it was like, And I think that Nier bothers him because there's such a distance between him and Nier, and it's like, yeah. But I thought that was really cool. That sounds like a really cool film. Alexander Q had a comment for episodes 32 and 33. Episode 32, Alexander commented, when Light saved the girl in episode 1, he actually didn't really care about her. He just wanted to test the Death Note out. He didn't make any effort otherwise to change the system or the situation. And that's a really good point, because I always find myself trying to play the devil's advocate and be like, okay, Romania, you can't convict Light of this without covering all your bases. So I always go back to that first episode being like, well, he did care about the girl, but honestly, did he? He was testing out the notebook, but he saw what was happening to her and he kind of just acknowledged like, oh yeah, she's about to get assaulted. Well, I'll just go in here and test this notebook out. And we can argue that he did save her, but he didn't care about her. Whereas Mikami, for example, he put himself in danger for the people a lot. So there's been a lot of comparison with Light and Mikami, but at the end of the day, I realized that Mikami or Mikami, the English dub calls him Mikami, and that's gotten me saying it that way. He would like throw himself out there and get beat up on behalf of other people. Light is not getting himself beat up on behalf of anyone. The only one that's beat him up in this series has been L. Light has not let himself be beaten up on behalf of anyone but himself. Like, that's a stark difference between Mikami, Mikami, and Light, right? That's a huge difference. So I thought that was worth noting. But also, I like this idea from episode 33 that Elle and Light were constantly playing against each other in the shadows. They were in the shadows, like trying to be stealthy, and Light likes to play in the shadows, which is kind of like a cool thing. His name is Light, but he plays within the shadows because it lets him like be elusive, right? But in this case, Elle tried to play in the shadows too, and it cost him. He wasn't up front. He wasn't telling everybody his exact thoughts. He played things close to the vest, and it cost him. Nier doesn't care he doesn't care, and he uses that closeness as insurance. He like gets as close and is upfront and blunt with Light because he wants to put it out there because he knows that Light's Kira and he wants to make sure to tell the task force, so it's insurance. He's like, okay, I'm putting this out there. If something happens to me because of what I just told you, you know that somebody in this room is Kira. And so he's doing that to give himself some cushion, which is something Elle would not do. So I like that big difference. And Aizawa has kind of picked up on it. I find it so fascinating. Alexander Q and I were talking because they really like Aizawa as a character, and so do I. But at the start of the series, it's kind of crazy that Aizawa went from somebody who was kind of against Elle, against this whole task force, and now he's like leading the charge to catch Kira. And it's like, it's so crazy how things have turned around. He's such a great character. I love Aizawa. I hope he doesn't die, honestly. But yeah, also, Alexander Q, I about died because I have a TikTok now. I'm not on it hardly at all, so there won't be lots of TikToks. I'm ancient, but I wanted to post like little tiny 30-second shorts, and I don't want to flood YouTube with them. I flood YouTube enough. So if you go to Romania Black on TikTok, I'm there. But I made recently a TikTok about Light being a scrub. It's got TLC's song No Scrubs on it. Go check it out. It's a fun time. Took me like an hour to make. But I was having a conversation with Alexander Q in episode 33, and they were like, you know, if this was supposed to be Misa's comeback tour, then that means that this whole time, the last 6 years, Daddy Yagami's been supporting not only his son, but his girlfriend too. And I was like, Light's saga as a scrub continues. No scrubs. Like, I love it. That I laughed so hard. I was like, oh my gosh. Yes. But finally, last comment before we start. I know this is a pretty long intro, but Takada could be, according to Alexander Q, a little bit more zealous with her version of justice. And her and Mikami, they're taking things very seriously and into their own hands as Kira, and it could easily get out of Light's control. After they said that, I was thinking about too, yeah, because Mikami has already, Light chose Mikami because he didn't have to order him around, which was convenient for Light because he's kind of being watched by the task force. So he was like, I need somebody that can act on their own without me having to give them instructions every 5 minutes, which is nice on Light's behalf now, but Mikami's already starting to act a little bit on his own. And not only that, but Takada is also starting to act a little bit on her own too. And Light's it's kind of starting to get away from Light, whether he likes it or not. And it's like, okay, Light, you still got control. You think you do, but you know, with Misa, it was so easy because she was easy to manipulate. Takada and Mikami are maybe not so easy to manipulate. We'll see. But, and Huckleberry's down here at my feet. So I don't know, y'all. These last 3 episodes, I don't know what's in store. Neither does Huck. But we'll see, right? So, cheers, everyone. We're going to watch episode 35 and see what happens. So, with that being said, we're going to start episode 35 of Death Note. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. I'm pretty stunned. And I have a feeling I'm going to be pretty stunned for the next 2 episodes because we have 2 episodes left. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be stunned for the next 2. What? I just, oh my God. First of all, R.I.P. to Mello. R.I.P. to Takada. R.I.P. to Matt. Oh, Matt, my favorite character for 5 minutes. Damn it. Oh my God. I can't believe Mello's dead. I am stunned. I thought that there was a chance Mello, I still think there's a chance Mello and Nier can die because it's like you get into preservation mode, prepare for the worst. I figured though, I thought Mello was making it to the end. I thought if Mello was going to die, it was going to be in the last episode. I thought Mello was going to come in clutch to try to do something, but man, no. His one act of chivalry, because Mello proves to be a chivalrous guy with the ladies, his one act of chivalry gets him killed. But I was like, I thought he was going to kill Takada, but it didn't even matter. She sent the note to Mikami to act. We need to talk about this episode, because there was like, they did a whole montage to set everything up, and I cannot tell you how much I want to read the manga right now. I haven't gotten the manga yet. It is like going to be the first Christmas item I purchase. I guarantee you, if I get some gift cards, the first thing I'm buying is the whole set of the manga. I want to sit there over the rest of break and read it. That's going to be my first line of business, because I'm like, because yeah, I feel like there's stuff left out from the manga, because that whole recap, I feel like there's stuff left out, and I don't want to know. Please don't tell me, because I am going to read the manga so I can do a video about it later. So don't tell me. Leave it out. But at the same time, I feel like there's stuff left out that I want to know more about, but I just can't believe he's gone. Oh my God. Oh. So what we need to do is that both Light and Nier believe that they are going to win. They both believe that they have a plan, and it's going to be the one that wins. That's interesting. And honestly, what this episode does is, for a second, it makes you think, that Nier's going to win. That Nier is a little bit more planned out than Light is, because Light's drawing some assumptions that Nier is already aware of. So, the thing I'm wondering about is how Nier is going to react to Mello dying, and if Mello was aware that he was going to die. We need to go back to this episode. If Mello was aware he was going to die, and if that's part of it, because there's something amiss from both Light and Nier. It's like Light and Nier are both withholding information from the audience to spring the surprise trap on us, the audience, and we'd be like, oh my God. And then the question is, whose surprise trap is going to be greater? I can't believe Takada's dead either. He killed her. But then she was disposable. He just used her. And the moment he knew that she killed Mello, he's like, wow, you've outlived your usefulness. And he's like, gotta get rid of that piece of paper you wrote on. Well, the easiest thing to do would be to kill you. And it's like, why? Why would you think that? She had the means to burn the piece of paper. Just have her burn the piece of paper. You didn't have to kill her. But I think Light was also aware that Takada, she had never killed anyone before. And she used the notebook. And she killed for the first time, and it ended up being the thing that killed her. There's so many little moments in this episode that I was like, is that leading to something? I can't believe we have 2 episodes left. 2 left. Oh my God. So we need to go through this. I'm like floored that all this happened in this one episode. And it's like, what do we even do? There's so many little things that I was, during the episode, being like, is that going to be a reference to something? Is that going to lead to something? Ryuk's back! Where's he been this whole time? Oh my God. So we need to talk about the plans here. We have Light and his plans. We have Nier and his plan all this. I'm going to put Mello over here. I'm stunned that we're at three episodes left, or 2 episodes left at this point. And it's so messed up. What I think is crazy. I was screaming in my head. I was like, Mello, please do not, don't fall for that underwear trick. It's a trap. But when he didn't pull the gun on Lindner till she was out of the shower, it's a setup of Mello's character that he is somehow chivalrous to girls. He didn't hurt Seiyu. Somehow to women, Mello's okay. I want to make note that that's one of his character flaws. And maybe in the manga we get more about it. Don't tell me if we do or not, please. We'll find out when I read it. But chivalrous, seemingly, to women. Yeah, a lot of the clientele that Mello stays around throughout the series were men. So interesting. I can't believe he's dead. Old Matt. And there's a lot of stuff going on in this episode. It's pretty insane, right? I'm just kind of floored that we're still here. So we get the reflection of the towers in the water. We get the people going day to day, the old person sitting on the stoop, everything, and like going to the tower both in the daytime and then the tower at night, and seeing just how society keeps moving. And I find it interesting that Aizawa is monitoring Light over his shoulder. Like, Aizawa's not letting Light get too far out of sight, right? He's not letting him get too far out of sight. And then you have Ide and Matsuda there with the coffee, right? Looking up various things. And then him with the time on his watch. Meanwhile, we have the bird. I guess the bird's okay because it's with Misa. I guess the bird's fine. Also want to make note, the 2 cups of coffee, there's a little piece of strawberry cake in between them. And I instantly thought of L. I was like, L wouldn't be playing cards. He'd be eating that cake, damn it, and solving crimes. Oh, makes me miss him so much. And especially now that we know the one that Mello looked up to him, that he's gone. Also, man, Misa with the go-go boots. She's like one of those people that like walks around the house like fully dressed, right? I like that Mogi's just playing cards with her and like it's fine. Mogi's also a huge man, by the way. He is enormous. And so at least Nier supplies him with coffee and cake. I mean, best hostess while you're kidnapping them possible. But he's going through and looking at the names in the death note. Okay. Meanwhile, interestingly, okay, so we have this one guy that's been led away with the glasses on, right? The one guy that's being led as Takada comes through that has the glasses on. We see him later in the episode. He's waving another love sign, and they focus on him twice. Twice they do. Which is weird, right? So I'm going to put over here kind of like odd things. Like oddities and thoughts. And maybe it's all just a coincidence, but I swear that guy with the glasses that gets beat up on with the long hair, he's later on in the shot with Takada. I swear he is. So there's a guy with glasses that is escorted away from Takada. Like as a fanatic or something, right? But that's so curious. Like we see him for a hot second and they get taken away. Right as Takada shows up in her car to like get on the scene and go into the office with Lindner. Okay? And she has like her special task force of bodyguards as she's being monitored by Lindner. And okay, so Mello and them were onto there. Mello like was onto that, right? What a sweet phone too. Okay. And we don't know what Mello's saying. So I'm assuming that we assume he was spying on Takada. The question is, was he talking to Matt or Near? We don't know for sure. Was he talking to Matt or was he talking to Near? That's the question, right? Who was he talking to? And meanwhile, Giovanni is still stalking Mikami. All right. And we know that Mise and Mogi are still at his place. Okay. Curiouser and curiouser. And then he's following so closely behind, I don't know, behind Mikami. I'm like, how you're not spotted? It just seemed like I was just waiting for Mikami to turn it around and be like, why are you following me? But it's all part of Light's plan to lure him, right? So they talk about this coming of age ceremony, and I wonder if that has any specific things that have to do with it at all, or maybe it's just a random news segment. Meanwhile, we have Near playing with his toys, right? He has the little Astro Man, and he has a Godzilla monster, and then he has like an alien with crab claw people, and the other thing, he's just sitting there playing. I love that Near is sitting there playing with his toys while Rester is doing all this research, and Giovanni's like on the laptop watching him. It's really cute. Okay. And so he talks to him and gives him the thumbs up. So they're both making their plans, right? Oh, God. Okay. So many things. And Lidner is making her plans as well. And she hears something that surprises her that is probably... So the question is, did Mello talk to Lidner to tell her they were taking Takada? It seems like of all the people in the task force that Near has, Lidner is the one that Mello connected to. So maybe she had been told by Mello, which means he's been in contact with Near this whole time. And we see, this is fascinating, we see Matt and Mello staring at the laptop, which means they've obviously talked to Near. Which means, do they know the plan? Do they know that there's a chance they would die? Mello doesn't look happy. I feel like he knows there's a chance he's going to die if this happens. And because he goes to eat the chocolate, and then he puts it down. Yeah. So I think Mello knew he was going to die. Which brings up a whole host of questions, because I feel like the moment that Mello turned down the chocolate, you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of in episode 24, it reminds me of the episode when Elle is stacking the creamers on top of one another, and he goes to stack that final creamer, and then he goes, I think Mello talked to Near and knew he was going to die. And Near was like, look, this is my plan. It's going to stop Kira, but if we do this, you're both probably going to die. Do you still want to do it? And so the question is, if that is true, what made Mello go along? I mean, I think we've established in the comment section that at this point, Mello is never going to kill Near. He wants to beat Near. But I feel like maybe Near was like, look, at this point, this is the only option we got. It's the only one that's going to work, and you know it. But there's a chance, if we don't play this right, that you could die. Are you willing to risk it? Okay. Meanwhile, we cut to Light and Takada still exchanging notes. And I like that Ide and Matsuda are just chit-chatting back and forth like no big deal, but Aizawa is the one listening very intently. Aizawa is still in... So Aizawa, I'm going to put him under Near. Aizawa is still monitoring Light. Because the only ones that know about the notebooks are him and Mogi. Him and Mogi are the only ones that know about the notebooks. Ide and Matsuda do not. So Aizawa is the only one of the group right now that's on to Light. And he's passing the notebooks. Meanwhile, we have Shogi, and we have like them, I'm going to put them down here, playing Shogi, and Misa kicking the board. I like that Mogi's like, look, I beat you, and Misa's like, nope! She just kicks the board, and he's like, no! I love that. That's actually absolutely hilarious. And then Giovanni's looking at the notebook and watching. So, and then we cut to, now there's all sorts of the same figurines, and there's one holding up the egg. So there's 4 that are surrounding him, and then there's one flying through the air. Like he's at the top with the prize, and the others are watching over it. Interesting. He's got the golden egg, and the others are watching over him. Fascinating. I'm very curious about that as he's just sitting there playing with it. Okay. I want to get a photo of that, actually. So yeah, the curious thing is in this whole segment, there's no sound. We have no clue what's going on, what's being said. It's just, and Lester is pacing back and forth, and then Mikami is going in and out of the gym. Okay. And Giovanni is following super close. He says, near it went well. I did everything you told me to. Okay. And Ryuk's back. I'm going to put Ryuk over here. So Ryuk's back. Ryuk is there. Where has he been? Ryuk has been oddly silent. Where has he been this whole time? He's just, kind of hanging out. Where's he been throughout all this? Has he just been chilling with Mikami? And Light is as cold as ever. What I hate about this episode is that Light has a plan, right? He has a plan for when they get to that damn warehouse. Nier knows he has a plan, and he's trying to counter it. So it's like, what are we doing? So Ryuk, where's he been? Light is suspiciously quiet, and you can't see his eyes. It's like, what the hell? Okay. And then we go to Mikami, who's sitting there at his desk. He's looking under a microscope. At names, at Matsumoto. What is he looking at? He's looking at names out of a notebook. Is he trying to find... He's trying to find fingerprints. Oh, he is. He's trying to find fingerprints, right, of who's touched the notebook. Okay. He's looking for fingerprints, I feel like. Mikami is looking for fingerprints to identify Giovanni. Yeah, because they would want Giovanni killed, because if Giovanni sees the Shinigami, it's all up, right? And if Giovanni doesn't die within so many days, then that means that Nier's going to confront Light, which I think he would, because he said within 24 days, so that's going to be the 28th. Okay. Oh my god. We're going to talk about this. But yeah, I feel like Mikami is looking for fingerprints so he can identify Giovanni. And if he looks Giovanni up in a system and sees a picture of him, he can kill him. That's what he's going to do. Okay. That's how it's going to go. So T. What's interesting is that I wanted to note that from the last episode. It kept stumping me. There were 2 things from the last episode that I'm sure by now everyone in the comment section has mentioned. But in case if y'all didn't, there were 2 things that I was like, One was that when Misa says Light whenever Nier first reveals that Elle's on the phone with them, at first I was like, why didn't Misa talk? And why was she saying Light but her lips weren't moving? She was thinking Light. Because yeah, in that moment, if she had said Light, they would have known who Elle was. And that would have gave it away. But she was thinking the word Light, but of course she didn't say it out loud. That's me going, having a dumb moment. And then the other thing, though, was that Takada calls Mikami T. But I'm like, T should be for Takada, right? It's bizarre. Unless, at the time, I was thinking, well, maybe she's passing off now as Kira, and he's second Kira. But now she's dead, so it doesn't matter. She's like, that's all I have to tell you today. And he says, very well. And he says, I also have something to tell that I want to tell you. And she's like, he says, I've confirmed it. So yeah, so she says that somebody is looking at the notebook. And that's when she tells Light. She tells Light that I have to see you. I want to see you. And Light, oh my god. I love the look on Light's face. I want to capture a picture of that, so you guys will have to excuse me while I get this. Oh my god. Yeah, he looks so pleased as punch. Light just has the best look on his face. He's like, I did it. That's the confirmation from Mikami. Meaning that now Light knows. Light knows that Nier is onto them. There's an interesting aspect about this episode, and it is the fact that Nier and Light are both using people. They're both using people to their own ends. The thing that's crazy about it that is different between Light and Nier is that Nier has a very clear-cut, he's very transparent, right? He tells Giovanni, he's like, there's a good chance that you can die if you do this. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. But Giovanni says yes. He tells Rester and Lindner, like, we'll probably die if we do this. And they agree to help him. And he tells Mello, I think he told Mello and Matt, like, if you guys kidnap Takada, good chance that you're going to die, but are you in or you're out, right? And I feel like he's told Aizawa and them, he's like, you guys need to stay out. It's our business now. Just keep watching him. You don't do anything else. Like, Nier is very transparent about everything that he does. Light keeps everything secret, and he just uses people like toys. He just uses them like tools. And Light is so proud in this moment. He's like, I did it. He's like, that's the confirmation. So a few episodes ago, Nier was like, well, we'll just distract Light by following Mikami. Well, we'll just do that. We'll follow Mikami while Light is distracted. Well, Light's figured out that Mikami is being followed, right? He's figured it out. And he's like, I just have to wait for Nier to ask to meet me. So he knows that Nier is going to arrange a meeting to expose Mikami and connect to Light. At least I think that's what Light is referring to. He's like, I've just got to wait for Nier to ask for that meeting, and then we'll get that, okay? He's like, Nier, I win. And Light's so sure. He's just like, I've won. He's like, I did it. He's like, once I see you, he's like, I predicted what your plan was going to be from the beginning. Yeah, this is that same shit that he did with Elle. He's like, I predicted your plan. He's like, I did it. Look, see? And then Giovanni's like, this is Giovanni. I've checked the notebook for the past 3 days. He's filled out one page every night past midnight. As he usually does. That's curious. He's filled out one page every night past midnight as he usually does. How do they know it's after midnight? That's so curious. So Mikami, they know that Mikami does one page past midnight. I guess, does he work out from 9 to midnight? Is he there for 3 hours? Curious. Okay, the victims match up. There's no change in his behavior. And he's like, I understand. And he's like, then we'll begin. And that's interesting. Light is claiming he's won already. He's like, I figured it out. I knew your plan from the beginning. Got this. And Nier doesn't say that he's won yet. He's just like, then let's start. He's like, let's start this plan then. And so, okay. So then it's almost like Light's but he calls. And they're like, it's Nier. And Light's like, he called me. Okay. And he says, Elle. He's like, what is it, Nier? He says, I want to meet you. And I like that Light's like, and he goes, what? Like he just tries to pass off like, what? You want to meet with me? And he says, I need to discuss the Kira case. And he's like, but you don't suspect me of being Kira? And he's like, you shouldn't want to meet me. And he says, well, there's something that I must show you personally. That part is a little bit scary, okay? So, what's interesting here is that Nier frames it as, okay, I need to show you something personally. Now, ideally, right? Ideally, I'm sure that he suspects that Light thinks he's talking about Mikami's notebook and everything. He wants to show him the notebook or show him that it's Mikami, right? I feel like that's what Nier is getting at. And he's trying to trick Light into thinking that as well. He's like, yeah, that's why I want you to think that I'm like totally devoted to Mikami right now. Sure thing. Yep. There's something I want to show you personally. Because Light's like, it's very suspicious for you to want to meet in public when you're so afraid. And Light's like, okay. He's like, everything will be resolved once I do that. And he's like, good. I want you to realize that you're wrong about me. I know! Everything's gonna go down next episode in this meeting. But we have 2 episodes left, so what do we do? Oh my god. And Aizawa knows. He's like, Nier wants to prove that Light is Kira, and Light wants to kill Nier. Like, Aizawa has come to this conclusion, right? So Aizawa, I think it's worth noting, Aizawa, he makes note that Nier doesn't want to kill Light. He doesn't. He wants to prove that Light is Kira. He told Rester, he's like, we're not going to kill him. We're not going to kill him, Mikami. That's not our style. That's not how Elle would do it. That's not justice. We're going to bring him to justice, but we're not going to kill him. Light, according to Aizawa, he wants to kill Nier. And that's where Aizawa has gone at this point. Aizawa realizes that, and the thing is, Light doesn't know that Aizawa knows. He thinks Aizawa and Ide are stupid. He thinks that they are not onto him at all. I'm like, Light, that man right behind you could very well betray you. Very much. He's not your daddy. He's not Daddy Yagami that wanted to believe in you no matter what, right? That's not the case with Aizawa. Aizawa may have been the spiritual successor of Soichiro Yagami, but he is not convinced that Light is innocent. And I'm like, oh my god. And that's the thing, right? Ide has said that he doesn't care either way. Light knows nothing about Mogi. Matsuda, he knows, is on his side, and he thinks Aizawa he has under control. But he doesn't know the extent that Mogi and him know about the notebooks and about Light and Takada. Oh my god, it's crazy, right? He's like, the time has finally come. Okay. And Aizawa says that. He's like, okay. Aizawa knows that something's about to go down. That these two are going to meet. He's like, let's agree on some rules regarding our meeting. And Aizawa's like, oh, really? And Light says, yes, anything. And he says, first, and he puts down the little figure of himself. He says, all of our investigators must be there. He's like, everybody. And he has everybody. I love that he has Takada and her little figurine there with the little dress on and everything. He has Rester. He has 3 in the back there with Giovanni and Mikami, which is curious. He has 3 other figures in the back there that we don't know about. But yeah, and he has Lindner and all them. Our investigators have to be there. In other words, everyone who's looking for Kira will gather. I understand, that's fine. And it's almost like the one with the mask and the freckles looks like Dennis the Menace, kind of, or it looks like Syndrome of the Invincibles. It's great. So yeah, so Nier says that the rule number 1 is that everyone must be there. Like, this is going to end up being a damn Shakespearean tragedy. I said that it was going to end up like Hamlet. I'm getting Hamlet vibes. Oh, everyone involved in the Kira case is going to be conveniently gathered there? What? Nothing's going to go wrong then. Everybody has to be gathered there. Okay. And he says, as I said before, there are a total of 4 SPK members, including myself. He's like, Mr. Mogi, who's here, will accompany us. I love the Mogi figurine. And then Misei's looks like something off of Rugrats. Misei will be released right before we meet. She will not be told where we're headed. So, they just turned her loose. So, he said that Misa is turned loose, but not told where they're going. That is so surprising. And I'm like, that is opening up a whole host of things to happen. Because if they just kept her locked in the room, well, then they could deal with her afterwards. But no, they're letting her go. That's so curious. If he suspects her of being a second Kira, that would be really dangerous to let her go, right? Because then what if she found out? What if she found out where you're headed? What if Light found a way to tell her? But here's the thing. Light has taken away her memories of the Death Note. Would he give them back? Would he risk it? Takada's gone now. So would he give her back the powers? And use her again? What would he do? What would that be like? But he's like, we're going to tell her not. It's almost like Nier's trying to spare her and let her go and so she can go off and not worry about all of them, and so she'll be spared. It almost seems like she's an innocent and they're trying to spare her. But my mind just keeps thinking that there's some way she finds out. Either she regains her memories from the Death Note, Ryuk gives her the Death Note or something to jog her memory under Light's orders, or something happens where she remembers, and then what? I'm so curious why he chooses to let her go. Why he doesn't bring... I mean, I get why he wouldn't want to bring her there. If he thinks she's a second Kira and she has the eyes, he wouldn't want to risk that. But he doesn't want her there at all. I feel like either he's planning to do something with her, or he's expecting Light to do something with her, and that's part of the plan. Or he's trying to be considerate and save her from knowing their fates. Whatever it might amount to, because I don't know, gathering everyone from both Task Force and Light and Nier and possibly Mikami by the end of this episode in the same building, and Mikami has the Shinigami eyes, that's a recipe for disaster. A recipe for disaster. We'll talk about Mikami, my theories on him, but that's just so curious, like to tell Misa that she doesn't have to go. And he just drops her. We'll meet once you confirm that Amane has been released. How about it? And then Ide's like, yeah, we should do it. And he says, I understand. We have 5 investigators, including myself. Well, Mogi's with you, so besides me, there's 3. He's like, very well. Now about our meeting place. And so he's like, okay. So the meeting place they decide on is, and they pull it up, Daikoku Wharf. So they want to meet at the Yellow House of Daikoku Wharf. It's a warehouse, an empty warehouse where there's only one door in, one door out, right? Hardly any windows. The abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of Southeast Side is like nicknamed the Yellow Box. The Yellow Box. Get there. He's like, I purchased it myself. I'm like, yeah. So yeah, you see all this stuff here. Okay. The Yellow Box. He's like, I purchased it all myself. I used L's funds. Taking the liberty of buying it. Okay. What about it, Light Yagami? You should be able to put your plan to action here. And here's the thing. Nier also has a slight advantage because he knows Light's name. So yeah, so he knows Light's name. All he has to do is get his hands on the notebook. And he could write, if he gets his hands on the notebook, which we'll talk about that in a minute because he says he's not going to touch it. If he gets his hands on the notebook, he just has to write Light Yagami's name, and he's dead. That's all he has to do. Right? That's it. That's so curious. That's so curious. All he has to do is write the name, and Light's dead. But Light doesn't know Nier's name at all. And the thing about it is Light has access to his name and his face. All he needs is a notebook, and he could write it down. Light does not know what Nier looks like and does not know his real name, right? So, who's to say that Nier isn't going to show up with like a paper bag over his head, right? Who's to say that? I mean, he could. I don't put it past Nier to be like, I'm on the safe side. I'm putting he shows up with a helmet, like a tactical force helmet on his head. He's like, nah, I'm not letting you see my face. Sorry, that's how we're meeting. I don't trust you like I trust Aizawa. So who's to say he wouldn't, right? Because here's the thing. He says that you should be able to put your plan. He knows and is betting on Light enacting a plan. Okay. he knows that. Okay. We're going to talk about this, but he's counting on Light putting a plan into motion, right? He says, one more thing. I want you to bring the notebook you have at your headquarters with you. And Light's like, bring the notebook? Why? So he wants Light to bring the notebook. The thing of it is, Mikami has his own. Mikami has his own notebook, right? He just tore out some pages and gave them to Takada, but he's kept the notebook for himself. He's just been using the fake one, right, to get all the fingerprints. But he has the real one still. He has the one that was the extra. And Light on his body, he has Misa's. Mikami still has Misa's notebook. Light has the one that's attached, the one that he got from, oh my God. He still has the one that he has on him that he's been using and keeping. There were 3 notebooks, now there's 2, right? So he's been keeping his. Okay. So Light, they want him to bring the notebook that he has, okay, with him. And Light's like, well, why would I do that? He's like, why? He's like, a simple reason. There's no one to guard the notebook if everyone leaves. He's like, who's going to watch the notebook? Anybody could steal it. We need to make sure it's there. He's like, I promise you, I won't try to steal it. So here's the thing. He says, I won't try to steal it, and I won't even touch it. I'll place my faith in you if Mr. Aizawa can confirm that it's the notebook from your headquarters. So yeah, he trusts Aizawa because, so that's the thing. He trusts Aizawa to confirm it. Okay. He trusts Aizawa. He knows that Mikami has one of the notebooks, and he knows that Light has the other. Okay. And he's like, I'll do it. He's like, but I want someone other than L, but someone other than L will hold on to it because I believe that L is Kira. So the question is, so Nier says, okay, someone has to hold it. Someone other than Light holds it. Okay, well, and he says that Light goes fine, but I'll decide who holds on to it, okay? And he's like, fine. Then all that's left is a date and time. So Light picks who holds it. Now the question is, Light picks. Now the question is, who would Light pick, right? Who would Light pick for it? You would think right off the bat he would not pick Aizawa or Ide because he doesn't trust them because they've been talking behind his back. But on the other hand, would he give it to Matsuda? Matsuda's kind of a coward. Would he trust Matsuda with that notebook to hold on to it? Would Matsuda drop the notebook? Is he afraid of that? Would he actually ask Matsuda to use the notebook? That's such a good question. If he gives the notebook to Ide or Aizawa, then I think he's screwed. Because I think Aizawa will turn on Light. I think he will. If he gives the notebook to Aizawa, I think Aizawa will use it against him. I absolutely do. I think if he gives it to Matsuda, he'll be fine. I don't know which he'll pick. That's curious. It's going to be curious to see who Light chooses to give the notebook to. And maybe we see it in this episode, maybe we don't. And Light's like, okay, the date and time. The question is what time. Yeah, and they figured it out too. He's like, Mikami kills right after midnight. They've somehow figured this out. In the morning, he'll receive a notice of people to kill. Okay, so he's like, we need to do it, taking into his movements into consideration. 3 days at 1 p.m. Okay, so it'll be, so they're going to meet on the 28th. On the 28th at 1 p.m. Okay, on January 28th. Oh my God. And Light's like, 1 o'clock, huh? Just as I expected. Nier is calculating Mikami's movements. He's like, I don't care what time it is. Sure, that's fine. Then 3 days from now at 1 o'clock. Oh my gosh. And then they're like, Nier, Light, Yagami, I know what your plan is, and I'm going to win. But here's the thing. I
I do think that Near knows Light's plan to a big extent, but I think that Light thinks he knows Near's plan, but there's something up Light's sleeve and there's something up Near's sleeve, and the question is who knows who better. And I honestly think Near has the advantage. Near has the advantage of Light not knowing what he looks like or his real name yet, whereas Near knows both on him. So I think that there is an advantage to that, right? And unlike Elle, who would not act on intuition unless he proved it, Near would. I think Near would. Near would be like, nope, we're convicting you. It's fine. We're going to do that. And so then he goes to Takada. He's like, oh, I'm a little busy today. And they start writing notes to each other. He says the police are going to have their hands full for 2 to 3 days. And she looks at the note and he says, I've already given orders to Mikami and Takada. This is the last order I'll be giving in order to kill Near. Okay. So Light is betting on all of this being the end. He's like, once I take care of Near, everything's smooth sailings because Near's the only one that can match me. So he's given Mikami and Takada orders of where to be, right? So he wanted Takada to be at the warehouse at 1 p.m. So they know where to meet. Here's the thing. I think that he wanted Takada and Mikami to both show up at the warehouse. To be there, right? Whether they were in secret or not. And they could look through the window or something to show up and be there in order to kill Near right there, right? I think that was their intention. Now, Takada's no longer able to meet there, so... But Mikami's the one with the Shinigami eyes. Here's the sad thing. The sad thing is, I think at the end of the day, Light was totally okay with killing Takada because she didn't have the eyes. And Mikami did. Now, if Mikami didn't have the eyes, would that have made a difference? I don't know. But the fact that Mikami is really the invaluable one, she was just a mouthpiece. He's like, I can find somebody else to do that. Right? He's like, I can find somebody else to fill that spot. Or at least Light thinks he can. He thinks it won't matter once Near's gone. In Light's mind, once Near is gone, everything is going to go back to the way it once was before Near sprung this whole thing out in episode 26. He's like, once I get rid of Near, things will go back to the last 6 years where I can keep on my agenda and keep on trucking and it'll all be fine. That he's totally convinced himself of that, right? Totally convinced himself. And so, but I feel like Mikami is going to show up at that warehouse, right? Which would be why I would think Near would probably, if he knows what Light's plan is, to show up prepared and have like a tactical like helmet on or something to protect his face. So Mikami may see his name, but he doesn't know what he looks like, right? That's the thing. I think that's what he's going to do. I would do that. I wouldn't show up at that warehouse without a helmet on. Hell no. After everything that's gone down, and especially after he finds out that Mello's died, because Lidner knew, so he knows. No way. And so we even see this red car fall, and we see Mello go in. Oh my God. I thought it was Mello on the motorcycle. I bet they thought that was part of the entourage, and it was Mello. And you saw Matt's red car there too. It was all part of it. Oh my gosh. Okay. So the question is, did she anticipate being kidnapped or not? That's a big question. Because she got out, ready to go. But there's that guy. See, there's that guy back there with the love sign, right? You see, it's the same guy from before with the same love symbol on. We saw an image of him. And he's shown to us again. Wasn't he the guy that was just beaten up and taken away? I feel like he was. Very weird. I feel like we just saw him already. And then freaking Matt. Matt's the coolest. He's such a cool character. He has the red striped shirt on. He has the funky hair, the goggles, the cigarette. I hope the manga has more of him. I freaking loved his character for the 5 minutes that we got it. What the hell? I honestly thought when we saw Matt pull up in the red car, I really thought that he was going to like run through. I really thought that he was going to run through and like just hit her with his car. I thought that's exactly what was going to happen. I was like, he's going to run through and just like wail her. Like just knock her out. I was should have just hit her with the car and just got rid of her. But I guess no. They used a smoke bomb to kidnap her instead. So this is interesting, though. Okay. Why didn't they just kill her? Why didn't they just hit her with the car? Why not? They probably knew they were going to die. So why didn't they hit her with the car? That's a good question, right? Because they say to protect Miss Takada, and Lindner goes to take her out, right? And then Matt speeds away, and they go to follow her, and the gang, like all of the guys go after him, and they're like, someone like that was just there. It's too dangerous to go in. And so he says, and then Lindner knows it's Mello. Okay. At any rate, you should get away from here. Lady Takada, please get on. And Lindner, and it's almost like Lindner knows he's going to die the moment she lets her near that vehicle. She's like, okay, it's all right. Get on quickly and get out of here. And she's like, okay. And so she takes off with him. And Lindner's just like, Team A, Team B, follow Lady Takada by car. Okay. Go after the car that sped off. And then there we go. And so they follow the car and everything, and Mello just takes off with her and then turns around. So it's a funny question of who knew what in this scenario. Did Takada know she was being kidnapped, or did Mello and Lindner, had they talked about this before? And Lindner acts like she didn't know Mello was going to be there. So interesting. And they're like, damn it. And they go to shoot. But here's the thing. The one guy, like, that's her personal guard. And the one guy was going to shoot. And the other guy's like, no, you idiot. You could hit her. Like, these people aren't thinking, right? And maybe that's the point. They're like, what if you hit Lady Takada? They're not thinking. I think that's like a big point here. That they have these guns. They have guns. And they're not thinking. Only aiming to delete or eliminate. Because when they killed Matt, I was like, you could have questioned him. And they're like, he wouldn't have told us anything anyway. This is Kira's justice. And I'm like, yep, that checks out. Light, you cool with this? Okay. But I love that he puts the handcuffs on her and she's like, what are you doing? And God, the handcuffs! The Mello with the handcuffs doing it just like Elle with Light. Man, so he handcuffs Takada, and it's very reminiscent of Elle with Light. And we get a close-up of his face, and again, I feel like this whole time, I feel like Mello knew he was going to die. I feel like the moment he let her on that motorcycle, he knew he was going to die. But the question is, how much do you know? What do we, the audience, not know? Okay, I want to go over this Death Note rule too. In the world of gods of death, in the world of Shinigami, there are a few copies of what humans may call a user guidebook for using the Death Note in the human world. However, the guidebook is not allowed to be delivered to humans. So the Shinigami just have to like read the Death Note and determine. They just have to read the guidebook, remember the rules, and tell the humans it. What? That's so ridiculous. And then it also says that it is perfectly okay for Shinigami to read the guidebook for themselves and teach humans about its contents, no matter what the content may be. So yeah, apparently there's like a tutorial, a manual. There's like a user manual in the Shinigami world, and they're like, you can memorize this and teach it to humans, just don't give it to them. What? But why would it matter when the rules are written in the notebook? How curious. Okay. And so they talk about her getting kidnapped. One of them is heavily armed. And Lady Takada's escort team and the police are hot on the trail. Okay. Like, this is bad. As reported by our escort team. Is it near again? And Light says, you promised we'd meet 3 days from now, so why would you spring this at the moment? He's like, what's the meaning of this? And he says, no, this isn't his style. It's more like, and that's when Nier calls. It's just like a telepathic thought. Light figures out it's Mello. And then, God, the animation on the car chase is great in this episode. Freaking Matt. I love him. Right? He's just sitting there with a cigarette. And then he sees the blockade. God, I love it. It's so good. Like, they just animated the shit out of this car. And getting cornered here. I think that this whole part here, as much as like, God, I hate that Matt was just, and he was so nonchalant. He was just like, He's like, well, damn it. So the car's got ahead of me, huh? How many escorts does Takada have? And they all raise their gun to him. And they're like, he says, oh, come on. Since when were the Japanese allowed to carry such big guns? And he's like, I'm an accomplice in the kidnapping of Miss Takada. So he thinks telling him that they're going to question him. He's like, you're probably got a lot of questions for me. But he has his gun there. And then they just shoot. God, they shoot him in the car and everything. Like, oh, damn. And he still has a cigarette in his mouth. Friggin' dies a cool death. And they said he probably wouldn't have told us anything anyway. They say death is the only way to pay for crimes against Kira. So at this point, the only punishment is death. That's all we can do. There's no in between. It's a rule of absolutes, which is absolutely terrifying. Man, I feel so bad for Matt. I was really liking his character. I was all set to be like a fan fave with him, and he was gone too soon. It's always the cool ones, right? Damn. I hate that. Ugh. But yeah, so Takada gets taken away by Mello. And she said he's the person that Yagami warned me to be most careful of is Mello. Because she can see him, even though she has the mask on, she can see his name. So she's figured out who he is. Mihail Keel. Yep. She's figured it out. Okay. As he gets into there. All right. Into the transport. Curious. Okay. And she sees who it is. And the thing about it is, when she looks at him, he takes off the helmet. I'm really amazed he took off the helmet. I'm like, why? Why did he take off the helmet? But why? Here's the thing. The thing that's kind of crazy about it is I almost wonder if he knew that she had that she would maybe be able to kill him. I don't know. I keep during this whole episode I kept thinking that she had the Shinigami eyes, but she didn't. But I'm like, once she sees his face, but she didn't have the Shinigami eyes, so how could she tell? How could she tell that was Mello? But then he took off the helmet. Okay, so here's the thing. She does not have the Shinigami eyes, right? She did not have the Shinigami eyes. So when he took off his helmet, he was confirming his identity. Because here's the thing. Okay, when they were on the motorcycle and he handcuffed her to him, if she had had the Shinigami eyes and had seen his face, she could have tried to find some way to get the notebook paper and kill him while they were riding, right? Maybe, I don't know. But the fact that he took off the helmet to confirm his identity to her, it's almost like he wanted her to see who he was so that she could kill him later, right? Because then when she asked to change her undergarments under the blanket, I'm like, dude, did you really? I know you're being chivalrous, but didn't you know what was going to happen? He's like, put it in the box. Okay. It's fascinating he took off the helmet. I feel like there was a reason he did it. There had to be a reason he took off the helmet. He's like, I'll give you a blanket. Just do it. I'm like, at least he gave her a blanket. He didn't make her sit there naked. I mean, good for him. Good for him being considerate. The one who kidnapped Takada was not me. He's like, well then, if it's not you, it's Mello. He's like, yes. I'll be honest. The individual I placed to guard Takada has confirmed that Mello was the one who abducted her. Yeah. I'm sorry this happened while we had an escort with her. He's like, can't you contact Mello? And he says that, no, it's impossible. I have a method, but there's no way Mello would respond in this situation. So that's very convenient. Nier's like, well, I could call him, but he's not going to answer right now. So, no. So, but the thing of it is that Nier, he has lied to Light already. He's already lied to Light. He told Light he didn't have a picture of Mello when he did. And so him saying, well, I can't really get a hold of Mello. He can. So that can't trust Nier. He's a liar. He's lied. He's like, and then so Light's like, eh. And so then she turns back and says, let me take off my underwear under the blanket. And Mello's like, And he's just so solemn. He's like, fine. And he gives it to her. Like, Mello is very uncharacteristic in this episode. He is so solemn in this episode. It's kind of freaky. And I feel like there's a reason behind it. But I don't know what that reason is yet. So I feel like we're going to find it out in the next 2 episodes. But it hasn't happened yet, right? Oh my God. And he has the gun still. What does that say? Sword cutlass. Yeah, 9mm. Okay. And she takes it off. And I mean, it's clear what she's doing. She takes off her bra and gets the notebook paper out of it. I mean, it's obvious what she's doing. It's like, come on. Also, want to make note, her bra was padded. Just gonna make note. Girl had pads. Misa didn't need any of that. I'll defend Misa against Takada. I will. Yeah. And so the perpetrator was shot. So then there's your chance of getting information, right? To confirm anything. They're like, you weren't able to get through, were you? He's like, no, her phone's off. Okay. And so he's like, I want to get in contact with Takada as soon as possible. Right now, all I can do is wait. Yeah, he's kind of like he doesn't have a choice. So then they get to the warehouse, or they get to somewhere with the transport, and he loads up. But here's the thing, Mello loads up the transport with something. Like, he loads up the transport with things to burn. So that's so curious. That's so weird. Like, why did he go to the warehouse? So why did he load up the semi with her still in it? So curious. So many questions. So much we're still in the dark about. There's something else happening. And it's like he's left a trail, right? What the hell? And then he takes it off. But something's amiss. Something is not being told to us, the audience. He's like, this is the only thing I can do if I don't do it. And then we see the man who was shot. So Nier knows. He says, this is all I can do. He's like, it's all I can do if I can do it. But what are you doing? I'm so confused. And then he sees Matt's car. Now, granted, like, dude, should you be looking at that giant screen while you drive this semi? Probably not. Probably not. He says, I never thought you'd be killed, Matt. Forgive me. And it's so crazy. And she sits there and she's thinking about, do I write his name on the notebook paper? And she has to think about it. Like, do I actually do this? Do I actually take a life? And I'm like, girl, the moment you take that life, you're dead. And she chose to do it. Her eyes turn red, right? It's so crazy that in that moment, I want to make note, like her face, like she gets so frantic. And in that moment, her eyes turn red. And she takes the life. And then calls Light. And the thing of it is, when he calls her, she says, yes. She's like, Light. And he's like, well, Miss Takada. He's like, are you all right? He's like, the only reason she'd call me without notice like this, it means she's escaped from Mello. Or she killed him. And she's like, Light, help me. And he's like, it's all right. Answer my questions. And so, okay, so we have here, there's a box there, right? And she's like, okay. She's like, where are you? And she says that and so we have like, okay, there was something like, looks like a device there. I don't know where I'm at. It's like a device there. I was inside a truck and locked from the outside. Okay. And we went on the freeway. And once I saw a sign, that said we were heading to Nagano. But I'm inside a building. And then, of course, it's a church. Of course it's a church, right? Why wouldn't it be? The bells ringing, and Mello and them landed in the church. Oh my God. What would a Death Note death be without some kind of religious symbolism, right? Or there might be people who are after your life. She's like, I remember. And then Light, this whole time, he's like, we talked about what you would do in that situation. If you were kidnapped by Mello, what would you do? And the way he's just looking up, like he's looking up at the wall, like he's so happy. He's like, tell me the good news. And it's like, oh my God. Like, just, yeah. Do you remember? And she says, I remember. I did as you said. She wrote his name. I did it. And Light's just like she did it. I didn't struggle even when I was stripped naked. I did exactly as you said. And there's blood on there, right? So she cracked open. Okay, she cracked open the wall using that. I made survival my first priority, and I did it. And then we see poor Mello. They fell asleep at the wheel. She used something to break that glass to get in there, right? Probably to figure out where they were. God, I hate it. And that poor Mello. She says, Light, I did everything you told me to do. Come quickly and help me. And she's so distraught because she's killed someone. And it has taken an emotional toll on her. She can't take it. She's killed someone, right? It's awful. And Light is not sympathetic in the least. He's just like, she seems like she's having some trouble with this killing thing. It'd be a shame if she told something right before I'm about to kill Nier. Do I really need her? Nah. That's kind of like the attitude he takes about it, right? So he says, you know what to do afterwards, don't you? And she's just like, but she got his phone. That's Mello's phone. Okay, so she broke the window to get to Mello's phone once they crashed in the semi. That's why her hand's bleeding. Okay, she's using Mello's phone, not her own. Gotcha. She's like, do as many killings as I can do while I can. And she's like, well, I know. But Light, and he says, you can do it, can't you? I'm like, this girl has just been like stripped naked, killed a man, and had to break a window and bleeding with her hands. And the one thing Light isn't like, hold on, we'll come get you. The only thing Light's focused on is kill as many people as you can right now. Because it's part of his plan for her to call Mikami and tell him that. God, Light. He's not interested in her at all. Just using her. And she just shakes. Yep. And she says, I can. Oh. Like, was it worth it? And she just sobs. And he's like, all right, Aizawa, Ide, let's go. And he's like, Matsuda, take care of headquarters. So he just has Matsuda stick behind, right? To go check everything out. And she's just sitting there sobbing. And she calls Mikami. And like, I love that she smears the lipstick all over her face when she calls him. And then she's like, it's me. Send me as many names as you can of those to be punished. And here's my email. And he's like, yes, I understand. And he's like, the fact that she called me like this means that she's killed her kidnappers. Then the only thing that's certain is that she's in a situation where she can't make any moves. Oh, okay. So Mikami realizes that she was kidnapped. She's safe now, meaning her kidnappers are probably dead. So the reason why she's calling him is that she can't go anywhere. Okay. And so then he decides to take off. He's like, I'm going to the scene of the crime for the next case. Which is it's almost true, right? It's almost true, right? He's going to the scene of the crime. And that lady's like, okay. And he's like, we've discovered the location by tracing the call. Head to Karuizawa by the freeway. It's 30 minutes away. It's Mello, we don't know what he'll do. And that was Light saying that, right? And he's like, yeah. And then Light goes, he's like, for God's sake, Aizawa and Ide are so stupid. Oh my God. I'm like, well, for God's sake, I think Light doesn't realize how far Nier's plan extends. I don't know. Light basically says that Aizawa and Ide are dumb. That's what he says. He says that they're stupid. And then he goes there. He's like, they both got in the front seat without a thought. This is just too easy. And then God, you know what the weird thing about this entire episode is? The weird thing is that the entire time that we have seen Takada in the back of this trailer, there's been something blocking half of the view. Like it's been like a tire or a plate or something's blocking the view. Something's been there the entire time that's been blocking the view. I mean, it's very cinematograph. It's like cinematic. Can't talk. But it's weird. It's right there. And then she just kind of looks up and stands up there and like acts kind of like Naomi as she's like naked. I'm sure there's some kind of symbolic significance to it. And that's when he tells her to commit suicide. As they drive. And Lindner is like, I need to get there before they do. And it doesn't matter. It's too late. And they lit the semi on fire in the church. At least Mello is getting cremated, right? Won't be exposed to any of that. And they're like, what is going on? And God, Light just in the backseat watching. With the church and the cross and the reflected in the glass. Look at that shit. Oh my God. And that smile. Where he was like, well, Kiyomi Takada, suicide. January 26, 2013 at 2:32 p.m. Burns to death by setting fire to everything around her. So good, including the things that she wrote on. The question is, how do you know that there'd be something in the transport that would be flammable? How do you know that? How do you know there'd be stuff in there to be flammable? I guess he was assuming she'd find gas or something. But how? Or that she'd siphon the gas out herself? How do you know that? How do you know there's going to be gas that she could... I guess he was assuming she'd siphon the gas or do something and burn and set herself on fire. I guess, using the truck. Or that she'd find fluid or something, but... So she's dead. Mello, Matt, and Takada. Cheers. Damn. That's so crazy. What the heck? I'm kind of floored, if I'm honest. So yeah, as far as plans go, so in 2 days, they're all going to meet in a warehouse. Takada's dead, so she's no longer in the picture. Mello is dead, so he's no longer in the picture, which is very sad. R.I.P. to them. But you have the 4 task force members and Near. And then ironically enough, you have the 4 task force members and Light. And then curiously enough, you have Mikami and you have Misa. They're the only 2 other Kiras left are Mikami and Misa. Funny that. And so you're expecting Misa is supposedly going on her own and Mikami is supposedly on his own. But the 10 of them are supposed to meet in a warehouse. I fully think that honestly, Light being okay with gathering them all there to get rid of Near, I honestly would not be surprised if we try to make this full-blown Shakespearean. And the question is, though, Mikami does not know that Light is Kira. He doesn't know that. Mikami has no clue that Light is Kira. So if Mikami shows up at the warehouse, because here's the thing, they're going to have the notebook on them. So this is all going down next episode. Into the last 2. So here's what we got, right? Okay, so we're in this abandoned warehouse. Well, people will not easily find, right? Convenient to kill a bunch of people, right? By a dock, right? So you're in this warehouse. Here's the thing. You have somebody on Team L has the notebook, right? And then you have I am fully convinced Mikami is going to show up. I'm fully convinced Light is going to have Mikami show up, right? And then you have Nier's team. Okay. Now the question is, if Mikami shows up, Light has the notebook. Someone other than Light will have the notebook. So the question is, if Aizawa or Mogi have the notebook, would they use it? Would they use it against Light? I don't know. Would they give it to Nier? Says he promised he's not going to touch it. He's not going to steal it or touch it. But that was just Nier. That didn't mean anybody else wouldn't do it. He could order Rester or Lidner or Giovanni to take the notebook. He wouldn't have to touch it. But my thing is, I almost wonder if Light is planning on Mikami showing up, and then Light's going to be like, kill them all. I'm Kira, kill them all. I could totally see that, because Mikami has the Shinigami eyes. I could totally see Mikami showing up being like, where is my god? And Light's like, that'd be me! And then Mikami's like, okay, I'll kill everybody else. And Mikami kills everyone, except for Light. And we're just going to make this a full-blown Shakespearean tragedy. That's what I think is going to go down. It's too convenient to have everybody located there. And Light is so desperate to win at this point. I'm like, if you're rooting for Light, how? Because at this point they make the note that like any punishment is worth just shooting them to death. Anything at all. You guys are supporting Matt getting shot up? How? At this point, Light, he is fully convinced that his new world can't start unless Nier is gone. And we know he doesn't. He thinks Aizawa and Ide are dumb. He knows Matsuda's dumb. He doesn't need any of them, he feels. Misa has been let loose, and she doesn't have any memories, so she's gone. He could kill her if he wanted to. Takada's gone. The moment that Light just instantly made Takada commit suicide, I was like, oh, Light doesn't care to kill anyone. Kill them all. So I'm afraid that, and Mello's dead now, I'm afraid that he is going to try to kill everyone there except for himself. And if Nier has like a helmet on to keep him safe, you would think maybe he'd have Lidner and all of them wear helmets. That'd be great. But, oh my god. 2 episodes left. Y'all. This episode floored me. I did not think we would have all this death, and I didn't think Light would go there. I really didn't think he would. But, so I think Mikami is going to be lured to the warehouse, and I think that he's going to get there and be like, which one of you is Kira? And Light's going to be like, it's me, kill them all. And then he's just going to start writing names in the notebook. And then that's going to be the end, because it's going to be like, Nier did not care to spare Light, but Light's not going to want to spare anybody. He'll want to get rid of every trace of evidence, every link, and start fresh and be the god of his new world without Nier. Oh my god. I don't know. But this whole episode, something felt amiss. Something felt like it was off. Like we, the audience, aren't going to know something until the next episode or the final episode. So yeah. It's fine. But Mello was weird this episode. Mello was very melancholy and weird. And I don't know what to do with that. So, and Huckleberry doesn't know what to do with that either. So, in any case, I hope you all had a wonderful week. Thank you so much for watching this reaction discussion. I hope you all enjoyed. Please, no spoilers, but 2 episodes left, and I can't wait. So, I'll be back next time with episode 36 of Death Note. Bye.